Welcome to Keep Traveling Your African Story, the only podcast that shares the real voices and journeys shaping African tourism. I'm your host, 𝐸𝐿𝐸, and through my inbound tour operation, Keep Traveling, I've had the privilege of connecting travelers from all around the world with the magic of Africa. This podcast is my way of opening that world up to you, a place to learn about the people, properties, and opportunities that make travel across this continent so very special. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Osvaldo Inguane, who's the sales manager at Polana Serena Hotel in Mozambique, who joins me to share his African story. Osvaldo, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invitation.
Osvaldo, for our international listeners, tell us a little bit about where Polana Serena Hotel is actually located in Mozambique.
Basically, Polana Serena is located in Maputo, Mozambique, the capital city of Mozambique. We are, let's say, 10 minutes away from the airport, Maputo International Airport, which is the main airport for the country, and especially for the southern side of Mozambique. We are located in a diplomatic, let's say, kind of area, diplomatic and business kind of area, in which on our right side we have the president's office, and on our left side we have the Swiss embassy and future German embassy building. So we are quite in a VIP area of Maputo. Unfortunately, we are not connected to the beach, although we have a magnificent view of the beach.
For our internationals that are arriving in Maputo, you said you're just 10 minutes away from the airport. I'm assuming that you organize some really easy shuttles back and forward to the airport for guests checking in, right?
Just very quick trip with Wi-Fi, so that they're able to tell their families that they've safely arrived to Maputo.
So now, once I check in, tell me a little bit about the different rooms that we have available at Polana Serena.
You basically have two buildings. One is the main building, in which you can find our studio rooms. They're basically smaller rooms, in which those are more suitable for crews or people traveling for a short trip, like 1 or maximum 2 nights. Me, myself, I wouldn't stay more than 2 nights in the room as due to the size. And after that, we do have the deluxe rooms, which are quite larger rooms, more comfortable. And most of them are sea view, which is good. You always wake up with the sea view, and it's always a pleasure to wake up with the sea view. And after that, above that, you do have our executive rooms, which are more spacious rooms. We normally allocate those, and we also advise guests that are staying for more than 3 nights or longer stays. It can either be for leisure or for business. And above that, we do have the executive suites and the presidential suite. So the executive suite is amazing and really spacious, with, let's say, a living room in which you can hold meetings if you want, or some of our guests use those rooms when they come in with families, so they can put extra beds in the room, as it's a spacious room. You can always put extra beds, and it's a very spacious room. One of our best rooms, actually. And in our Polana Mar wing, which 90% of the rooms are sea view. One of the best views that we have are from those rooms. And all those rooms have balconies, meaning that those are the best rooms in our property due to the balcony. And in there, we start from standard rooms, which are also very spacious rooms and very comfortable rooms. If you're staying for 2 and more nights, you are set for good and you will not want to leave. We do have some executive rooms, not many, as we turn 8 of our executive rooms to kitchenette, as we were having a lot of requests from our guests to stay a period for 2 weeks and more. And in fact, right now, all those rooms are occupied for guests that are actually living in the hotel. So we do have guests living in the hotel. Beyond that, we do have our villas, 8 luxury villas, nicely equipped, T2s and T1s, really good for families coming on vacation, or if they're moving to Mozambique, let's say for a year or 2. And also those are fully occupied with tenants that are staying for, we do have contracts for 1 and 2 years at the moment. That's basically how Polana Serena is set up.
You mentioned quickly the presidential suite. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Our presidential suite, I would say, is the best, not because it's Polana. Compared to our competitors, is the best presidential suite that you would find in Maputo, Mozambique. Why? It's one of the only suites that has a sea view. It basically occupies 80% of our first floor. So basically our first floor is mainly, all the front row of our first floor is mainly the presidential suite. And the presidential suite is basically 2 rooms. So you have the main room, which is the room where the VIP would sleep. And you have an adjacent room, which would be the security room. or assistant, depending on how our client feels better. In that presidential suite, you still have a living room. You actually have one living room, one office, and a huge dining table. Our VIPs would sit with family members depending on what kind of VIP it is. We did, just for a matter of interest, we did have one of the CEOs of one of our bigger sugar processors in Africa came with his family, and they all dined at their table. It was amazing to see. Just for you to have an idea of how the presidential seat is set.
Tell me about the food opportunities that I could possibly enjoy while staying at Polana Serena.
As you may imagine, due to our group, which is Serena Hotels, we do have very strict, let's say, food safety policy. Besides having the national, which is called 𝐸𝐸, Institute of Economic Activities inspection, we do have inspectors coming through from South Africa, which they inspect our food areas, freezers, and everything. They basically come every 3 months. We do have inspections because we understand that it's a big concern for our guests, not only from outside of Africa, but also coming from African countries due to their different dietary, let's say, challenges and so on and so forth. So for us, we are known for our seafood. Our seafood is what we're known for. Oh, not to forget about chicken, our grilled chicken. Actually, the Mozambican grilled chicken is what Mozambique is famous for. So basically, for us, we do follow that line, and we are really concerned about food safety. And of course, we work a lot on the taste of our food. Our seafood is our signature.
Of course, Mozambique is obviously tied very much towards the Portuguese cuisine, and that's, of course, the prawns and the chicken that you've mentioned already. I'm sure some of the listeners' taste buds are already salivating. So we've eaten, we've drunk. You've mentioned the lovely sea views. Tell me, how far away exactly are you from the beach?
Let's say from the beach, you would basically, if you're driving to the beach, you would basically drive, let's say, for 2 minutes. It's not that far. It's close to the beach, but you don't have direct access to the beach from the hotel, from the property itself. And if you're walking, basically take you, let's say, depending on what part of the beach you want to go to, 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, and is it safe for me to walk as a visitor to the country? Obviously, not blending in with the locals. Is that going to be a safe walk for me?
100%. And sometimes I even say it's safer for a foreigner to walk in this area than a local.
And tell me about the actual beach itself when I'm down there at the beach. Is the water nice, crystal clear, or is it a little bit what it's like around some major cities? So tell me a little bit about the beach there as well.
Our beachfront, unfortunately, due to the port which is nearby, it's not as clear as we would want it to be. But if you are looking for that clear water touch, you have two options. One option would be Macaneta, which, let's say, it's around 30 minutes away driving. It's a 30-minute drive, which is also amazing. It's easy drive, not much hustle. And another option is Ponta, which is around 2.5 hours, and that's the best option. Although it's far, but it's worth the drive. And in fact, on your way to Ponta, you go through one of our national parks and you're able to see giraffes and other sorts of animals. Unfortunately, you're not going to see the big five, any of the big five, but still, it's a pleasant drive.
Okay. I didn't quite touch on the actual amenities that you had at the hotel itself as far as swimming pool, spa. Tell me a little bit about that before we go any further.
In fact, Polana Serena is the only hotel in Mozambique that has an inbuilt spa, meaning that you don't only have our main pool, which is an outdoor pool. You also find a spa, which has a heated pool indoors. Besides that, in our spa, you also find a jacuzzi, a steam, and a sauna, which is free of charge for our in-house guests. Of course, if you travel to Mozambique and you're not staying at Polana, you can still come to the spa. We will charge you for that, of course. But for our in-house guests, that's free of charge. Besides that, we do have a gym. It's not a common hotel gym. It's a bigger gym, as we do have members from that are not staying at the hotel. So it's open to the public. I find our gym and spa a great place to network and to do business.
If I were to come to the hotel, I'll see you working out in the gym then, would I, Osvaldo? Will you be working out?
You'd see me always walking around the gym, making sure that you're being served right and making sure that you're working out.
Okay. So we've covered that now. Let's say I've come to stay for a few days. What activities would you put me into as far as activities in the city of Maputo?
For your first day, let's say you come on the first flight, you check in. I would firstly advise you to do a city tour. Depending on how long you've stayed in your flight, it would be tiring. But yes, the city tour is a must. And that city tour, it must include the suburb areas, because then you would learn about not only the history of Mozambique, yet the history of other African countries. You will see where Mandela has passed by in Mozambique during his visits. You would basically see where our liberators come from, the same liberators that stayed in Zambia, in Tanzania, that also helped liberate Uganda. Look through that whole history side of not only Mozambique but also African history. And of course, you basically see the results of various cooperations between Mozambique and other countries. If you go, there's an area here called Mafalala. You will see how the Italians have supported the development of the communities and so on and so forth. And besides that, you then be able to also visit the museums so that you're able to have a view, especially what we are famous for, natural resources. Basically have a chance to see where our gold is spread and so on and so forth, and our diamonds, rubies, and so on and so forth. So be able to have an idea on the areas that have all these natural resources, and also experience our nightlife. It really depends on what kind of guest you would be. We have these guests that love to go to the theater, which is amazing, which is good. We do have clients that also love to go to watch jazz. We do have jazz around town. And of course, going back to this, besides Polana, there are plenty of restaurants around town in which you can also visit that have local live music, which is, we do recommend those to our guests because they like to feel that vibe of the city of Mozambicans. Because if you're coming to Mozambique, you must feel the Mozambican energy, and you are only able to feel that if you go around town. Then one of the things we also advise our clients to do, you can either do a safari in our reserve, which is nearby, which is an hour away from here, or you can go to Kruger Park. You can also go to the parks in Namasha, which is, let's say, 1 hour and a half. And it also depends on what kind of animals you also want to see. If you want to see the big five, you can see some at the Kruger, which is still not such a long drive and still good. And of course, on a daily basis, our cultural agenda in the city varies a lot. So you always have things to do in town.
Let's talk about being around town in Maputo. Historically, all the sort of CBD cities or major cities around the world are the ones where there's a little bit of, I don't know, uncertainty, people feel unsafe. Can people feel safe about walking around Maputo? Visitors coming there, they don't speak the language. The media doesn't give Mozambique as a whole a very good rep. So can people feel completely safe about doing all these excursions around the CBD of Maputo?
Yes, as I said before, as I mentioned, it's safer for foreigners than it's safer for me as a local. One of the funny things that I find about Mozambique, Mozambicans are the kind of people that if they see you around the neighborhood, they would want you to see it. They would say, "Come, I want to show you our football field." And you can go to a CBD area or to a suburban area, and they would basically want you to see it, to live it, to experience it. Mozambicans are really welcoming people, and they understand, and they're the kind of people that if they see you around their neighborhood, as you are a foreigner, there are certain things you don't know, so they want to show it to you. They will even ask you, "Do you know this game?" Talking about local games, and they will show you, they will teach you, and if even with a language barriers, they will try to understand you. And they will ask you, how do you say good morning in your language? How do you say good afternoon? How do you say good evening? How's chicken in your language, and so on and so forth. So basically, Mozambicans are very humble and welcoming people. Yes, the media shows a part of the country in which it serves their purpose. That's what sells, right? That's what gives them money, but that's their business.
Sure. No, I fully understand. And we've spoken about the actual town Maputo, and you've spoken a little bit about the safaris. Mozambique's very famous for places like Vilanculos, the Portuguese islands, of course, Bazaruto, Benguera Island. When I come and I'm going to stay at Polana Serena, can I count on you guys being able to do excursions for me and book extra nights for me up in those different areas?
Of course, us as Polana, we do have our porters in our guest relations office. The officers, they will basically support you with that. And we do have islands that are just across Maputo, which you can cross to Chifina. You can also cross to the Portuguese island and 𝐸𝐸𝐿𝐵 and so on and so forth. Easy trips, no longer than 3 hours by boat. And also, there are some guests that prefer to go by helicopter, which you can also find easy here in Maputo. And of course, we do give support to our guests in that if they want to have that experience. And I tell you, it's amazing, especially Vilanculos. Myself, I love Vilanculos.
Vilanculos looks fantastic. Tell me about what are your hopes for the future of tourism in Mozambique, in Africa, and even perhaps just in Maputo itself?
To be sincere, I really have high hopes for tourism, not only in Maputo, but in Africa as a whole. We just need to focus on logistics and quality service. That's all we need to focus on. If we're able to deliver the best quality service and we're able to have the logistics made easy, our tourism, it will be something else. It will exceed any touristic hub in any part of the world, I tell you.
Because Africans are just like the nicest group of people, aren't we?
Yes, yes. Africans throughout, and yes, the media will try to talk only negative things about Africa and Africans, but I tell you, from Egypt to Maputo, from Maputo to Joburg to whatever town you in Africa, you'll feel welcome.
Osvaldo, what would you say to somebody that's coming from overseas for the first time, coming to Africa for the first time, Southern Africa or even into Mozambique? What would you say to that person that's coming to Africa for the first time that's a little bit nervous about the possible experience and the whole media aspect that they may or may not hear?
Open your heart. Just come your heart open. That's all.
That's fantastic. Now, the big question is that there's other hotels in Maputo. Why should I come to Polana Serena?
I normally get that question a lot. My first answer is Polana Serena is focused in excellence. So we will deliver a service that you never expect to get in an Africa property. So that's the first thing. Besides all the amenities that we do have that are unique in Maputo, talking about the spa, our unique swimming pool, our unique view of the sea, and of course our unique rooms.
Okay, now closing off now, Osvaldo, where can people find you online and follow your story?
If you're looking for Serena Hotel, you can find us on Instagram, which is Serena Polana, at Serena Polana. You can find us on Instagram. You can also find me on Instagram, which is at 𝐸𝐴𝐿DO. That's my Instagram. You can also find me there. And let's connect.
That's fantastic. And what we're going to do is we're going to share those handles on the show notes so that people can hook up with you and follow your story. Osvaldo, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed learning about Polana Serena, and I look forward to coming and enjoying the gym workout with you one day when I get there myself.
Please do. You're most welcome, and we'll expect your visit, and you'll love it. And trust, when you come, I will get you those tiger prawns. You'll love it.
I'd never leave, I'm telling you now. If I get fantastic peri-peri tiger prawns, I'm going to be staying there forever. Osvaldo, thank you so much again. What an inspiring conversation. Thank you so much, Osvaldo, for sharing your story and for everything you're doing to grow African tourism. Don't forget, every week we feature fantastic prize giveaways from some of Africa's most beautiful lodges, camps, and travel partners. You could win your own unforgettable getaway just by listening, subscribing, or visiting www.keeptraveling.africa/podcast, or read more about today's guest by scanning through the show notes of today's episode. Don't forget to follow Keep Traveling on social media for the latest episodes, stories, and travel inspiration. I'm 𝐸𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐸, and this has been Keep Traveling, your African story. Remember, a few years from now, you won't remember how much it cost you, but you'll always remember the memories you made. Keep traveling.